Have you ever thought about how one single moment, just a split-second decision on a freezing cold night, could completely redefine your entire life? Well, that's exactly what we're digging into today. A story about huge ambition, pure chance, and a kind of debt that no amount of money could ever really repay.
You know, we're always told that if you just work hard enough, you'll succeed. But is that really the whole story? What role does character play? Or what about just plain dumb luck? The story we're about to get into might just give us a few clues.
Okay, so let's set the scene. In a city of millions, we're going to meet one young guy whose dream burns, way brighter than all the city lights combined. So this is Aryan. He's only 22, he's in New York City, thousands and thousands of miles from anyone he knows. And just like so many people who are drawn to a place like this, he has this incredible fire in his belly to go out and make his mark.
And here is where you see the massive gulf between his dream and his reality. His ambition? He wants to be a millionaire, but right now, he has exactly $47 to his name. Can you imagine? That is the mountain he has to get up and climb every single day.
So how's he going to do it? What's the plan? Well, there's no magic formula here. It's just pure, relentless, backbreaking work. He's working double shifts, spending his days in a hot restaurant kitchen and his nights at a quiet gas station. And get this, he's doing it all on just 3 hours of sleep. This isn't just a tough job, it's a test of what a person can physically endure. So you have to wonder, what on earth keeps him going? It's this one thought, this little mantra he whispers to himself at 2 in the morning. This shows you that it's not just about the money for him. It's about being seen, about leaving a legacy. This is the thought that keeps the exhaustion at bay.
So we have this driven, completely exhausted young man pushing himself to the absolute edge. And it's on one of these grueling nights, one fateful, freezing cold night, that the whole game is about to change. Just try to picture this scene. It's a bitter, nasty New York winter. The temperature has plummeted to -10 Celsius. That's about 14 degrees Fahrenheit. It is that kind of deep, bone-chilling cold that just gets right into you. And Aryan is out there right in the middle of it, pushing through the icy streets. And then, just like that, a flash of light, the sound of screeching tires on ice. A car completely loses control, spins out, and crashes hard. For Aryan, in that single moment, everything else just fades away.
Now, this is the moment. This is the turning point. Think about it. He's freezing, he's exhausted, and this accident has nothing to do with him. He could have just kept going. Honestly, who would blame him? But he didn't. In that split second, something deeper, his character, just took over. He didn't even hesitate.
He just reacted. His bike probably clattered to the pavement as he just sprinted towards the smoking car. He manages to pull an elderly man from the driver's seat, and with shaking, frozen fingers, he calls 911. It all happens so fast, just a series of selfless actions in the middle of chaos.
Okay, so the immediate danger's over. The ambulance is left, the adrenaline is starting to fade, but believe me, this story is just getting started.
The very next day, it's right back to the grind. Aryan's at his restaurant job, probably running on nothing but fumes, when someone walks through the door. And his heart must have just stopped. It's the man from the crash. You can only imagine what was going through his head right then. And here it is. This is the bombshell. The man Aryan saved wasn't just some guy. He was Richard Coleman, a billionaire, the owner of one of the biggest real estate companies in the country. The man he pulled from that wreck is one of the most powerful people in the entire city. All of a sudden, the stakes are just astronomically high.
So, this brings us to the moment where two completely different worlds collide. You've got the struggling dreamer with nothing but ambition, and you've got the billionaire who has everything. And it's all because of one single, selfless choice on an icy road. And then, Coleman says the words that change everything. "You saved my life. Now let me change yours. Come work for me." Just like that. It isn't just a thank you, it's an opportunity. It is the opportunity. It's that dream Aryan kept whispering to himself suddenly coming to life right in front of him. What an incredible turn of events, right? But beyond just the story itself, Aryan's whole experience kind of forces us to ask a much bigger question about the things that really shape our lives. So what's the real lesson here? So let's just break it down for a second. Aryan's story is like this perfect storm of 3 things. He had the unbelievable work ethic, right? He had the good character to act when it really counted, and then he had the pure, insane luck of being in exactly the right place at exactly the right time. So which one mattered most?
Was it any one of them, or did he need all three for that door to finally open? That's the question this story leaves us with, and it's definitely something to think about.
I want to tell you a story today about how a single moment, a single choice, can completely change the course of a life. It's a story about huge dreams, real character, and one chance encounter that, well, it changed everything.
And it all starts with this number, $47. Now, I want you to really think about that. This wasn't just some cash for the weekend. For the guy in our story, this was his entire net worth. Everything he had to his name in the entire world. Can you even imagine that kind of pressure?
But here's the thing. Even with just $47 to his name, he was holding on to this massive dream. Every single night, maybe while he was cleaning up at some dead-end job at 2 in the morning, this is what he'd whisper to himself. The conviction there, it's just incredible, right? To hold on to that kind of ambition when your reality is so different.
So let's dive into that. Let's talk about the $47 dream and the, frankly, enormous gap between where he was and where he wanted to be.
Okay, so meet Arian. He's just 22 years old, trying to carve out a life for himself in New York City. Not exactly an easy place to make it, right? And get this, he's totally alone, thousands and thousands of miles from his home, from his family, from anyone he knows. So on one hand, you've got this dream that is just huge, to become a millionaire. And on the other hand, you have the cold, hard reality of his pocket, $47. I mean, the distance between those two things is just staggering to think about. So how was he even getting by? Well, his schedule was absolutely brutal. He'd spend his days working in a restaurant, then he'd go work nights at a gas station, and somewhere in between all that, he'd catch maybe 3 hours of sleep. This is way beyond just working hard. This is pure, relentless survival mode. And all of that struggle, all of that exhaustion, it was all leading him towards one single fateful night. A night that was about to become the ultimate test of who he really was. So picture it. It's just a normal winter evening. For Arian, it's just another shift, another food delivery he has to make on his bike. Nothing seemed special about it at all. But the weather that night, it was something else. The temperature just plummeted, all the way down to -10 Celsius. We are talking dangerously, painfully cold. The kind of cold that feels like it's slicing right through your clothes. And you know what that kind of cold does? It turned the roads into a death trap, just a sheet of black ice, the absolute perfect conditions for a disaster. And then it happened. A car hits a patch of ice, it loses control, and just smashes violently into a wreck. The quiet night is just shattered by that awful sound of crunching metal. Now here's the crucial part, Arian's reaction. He didn't hesitate. He didn't pull out his phone to record. He didn't think about his own safety. He just acted. Dropped what he was doing, sprinted to that wreck, managed to pull the driver, an old man, out of the car and called 911. It was just pure instinct, pure empathy.
So the immediate crisis is over. The ambulance shows up, the scene gets cleared. But this story, it's not even close to being done. In fact, the real impact of what Arian just did was only just beginning.
So, the very next day, what's Arian up to? He's right back at his restaurant job, back to the same old grind, wiping tables, taking orders. The chaos of the night before must have felt like it was a million miles away.
And he's in the middle of his shift. He looks up, and you're not going to believe who's standing there. It's him, the old man from the car crash, right there in the restaurant.
This is the moment. This is the pivot on which his entire life is about to turn. Because Arian is about to learn that the man he pulled from that wreck wasn't just any old man. So, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or, in this case, the billion-dollar question. Who exactly was in that car? Whose life did Arian save on that frozen road? Get this. The man's name was Richard Coleman, a billionaire. And not just any billionaire, the owner of one of the largest, most successful real estate companies in all of America. I mean, the odds of this are just astronomical.
And Coleman, he walks up to Arian and says the 6 words that are about to change everything. You saved my life, now let me change yours. Talk about a debt of gratitude, right? This is on a whole other level. And the offer was so simple, so direct, and honestly, more valuable than any check he could have written. Come work for me. That wasn't just a job offer. That was an opportunity. That was the door swinging wide open to the exact life that Arian had been dreaming of while he was scrubbing dishes.
So, when you hear a story like this, what do you think? Was it all just a one-in-a-billion fluke, a crazy stroke of luck, or was it something more? Maybe the greatest opportunities in life don't find us by chance. Maybe they find us when our character is finally ready for them. Arian had the ambition, for sure, but he also had the integrity to do the right thing when nobody was watching. And perhaps that's not destiny. Perhaps that's something we can all build for ourselves.
You ever think about how one single moment, like one split-second decision, can just completely change everything in a person's life? We hear stories like that all the time, but the one we're going to get into today, wow, it feels like it's straight out of a movie. Okay, let's jump in. So this is the big question, right? The one at the heart of this whole story. And we're not talking about just getting a pat on the back or feeling good for a day. We're talking about a real, fundamental, life is never the same again kind of change. Can one selfless move really rewrite your entire future? Well, let's find out. To even begin to answer that, we've got to meet our main character. He's this young guy, and he's stuck right between this enormous dream and, well, a pretty brutal reality.
So meet Arian. He's only 22, trying to make it in the middle of New York City. And here's the key thing you've got to understand. He is totally alone. He's thousands of miles away from family, from anyone he knows. He is literally starting from scratch.
And this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? The sheer size of the mountain he's trying to climb. In one corner, you've got this huge dream, become a millionaire. And in the other corner, the cold, hard facts. He has exactly $47 to his name. That's it. So how's he going to close that gap? Well, here's the first part of his story. Just pure, nonstop hard work. I mean, look at this. This isn't some get-rich-quick thing. He's working at a restaurant during the day, a gas station at night, and he's doing it all on maybe 3 hours of sleep. It is an absolutely punishing routine, but it's all fueled by that dream. And what keeps a person going through that kind of grind? It's this internal monologue. When he's alone, cleaning up at 2 in the morning, this is what he tells himself. It's not just about the money, you see. It's about being someone. It's about making all of this sacrifice actually mean something. Okay, so you've got the picture, right? The daily struggle, the distant dream. It's all built on this foundation of hard work. But then, one freezing winter night, that whole routine gets shattered, and something totally new gets thrown into the mix. And let's just paint the picture here. It is dangerously cold outside. We're talking -10 degrees Celsius, the kind of cold that hurts. And of course, that's when Arian is out there working, delivering food on his bike. And then, bam, it happens. Just a sudden, violent sound of screeching metal. A car hits a patch of black ice, spins out of control, and just smashes into a wreck. Now, this is a key moment. Think about it. What would most of us do? Probably freeze up, maybe pull out our phones to record. But Arian, his reaction is pure instinct. And this is where we see the second crucial piece of the puzzle, his character. The sources are really clear on this. He didn't even hesitate. He just sprints straight towards the danger. He gets to the car, manages to pull the driver, an older guy, out of the wreckage, and gets on the phone to 911. Just simple, direct, heroic actions. He wasn't thinking about himself at all. It just shows you who he is, deep down. So the ambulance arrives, the immediate crisis is over, and Arian goes back to his life. You'd think that's the end of it, right? Nope, not even close. The ripple effects of that one night are about to come find him. So get this, the very next day, Arian's back at his restaurant job, probably beyond exhausted, still running on fumes. And who walks in? The man from the crash. He didn't just forget about it, he actively went looking for the young man who saved his life. And this is the plot twist. This is the moment the whole story flips on its head. This is where the third, and maybe the most powerful element of all, just walks right in the door. Pure luck. Because the man Arian saved wasn't just some guy. It was Richard Coleman, a billionaire real estate mogul. And the most important part? Arian had no clue. He just saw a human being who needed help. So now you have these two guys standing there, face to face. The dreamer with $47 in his pocket, and the billionaire who, by a complete twist of fate, literally owes him his life. This is where it all comes together. And Coleman doesn't just pull out his checkbook and offer him some cash. He makes an offer that speaks directly to Arian's dream. You saved my life. Now let me change yours. This is the billionaire's debt, and he's repaying it not with money, but with something so much more valuable,
a chance, an opportunity that connects Arian's hard work and his character to a future he couldn't have even imagined. What a story, right? It's incredible. It almost sounds like a modern-day fairy tale. But when you look past the amazing story, it really makes you think about the bigger forces that are at play in all of our lives. And that's really what I want to leave you with. Think about it. It was Arian's relentless hard work that put him on that cold street in the first place. It was his deep-seated character that made him run towards the crash. And it was pure, random luck that put a billionaire in that car. If you take away any one of those three things, his life doesn't change. So which one do you think matters most in our own lives? Hard work, character, or just plain luck? It's something to think about.